guys, how's it going? It's Al. Week 8 is here for NFL DFS on DraftKings, and I'm going to talk about 5 top stacks that I like best that you have to play in tournaments. You don't have to do. You do whatever you want. These are stacks that I'm looking at for tournaments this week, and I prefer to double stack. I also correlate through a bring back. We're going to take a look at the target trees. We're going to build a pick'em on Underdog Fantasy, and we're going to take a look at how the Fantasy Labs lineup builder is going to build those double stacks for us at the end of the video. So make sure that you stick around for that. So hopefully this video helps you. Drop a like on the video, subscribe to the channel, ring the notifications bell, and apparently I've heard that comments right now are really helping in the other, like, I don't know, leave a random, I don't care if you comment anything, comment, like, leave like frog. Just comment frog as a reply. You can leave a frog emoji. You can type the word frog. You can put a picture of the guy named Frog from Indiana Jones and Temple of Doom. I don't care. Just type frog in the replies. And let's go.
He's a legend.
The Smiz Gang Listener League is posted for week 8. We are running a little bit behind, and if we do not fill this thing, they're going to make it smaller moving forward for the rest of the season. So I would urge you, if you want it to stay a $50,000 tournament, it's always going to be $10. It is 3 max. You can't mass multi-enter this thing. There is always no rake. The best tournament that exists on DraftKings. It's not available in the lobby. You got to go to smizzle.tv/links and follow the link tree to get there, as well as all of my other links are in there too. While you're there, click everything else. Best Buys is posted for this week on ESPN Plus, so you can click that through the link tree as well to go read the article of the players that I think are some great values for this weekend's game. But make sure that you get your 3 entries in the Listener League. I will be shouting out the top 10 players on the recap video on Monday of next week on the Al Smizzle Fantasy Football channel. So get in there, take advantage of all the rake-free goodness, and let's take a look over at Underdog Fantasy. No surprise who the number 1 stack is going to be, right? Because I've already got him on the cover. It's going to be the Miami Dolphins. If you are new to Underdog Fantasy, you can use promo code ALSMIZZLE. That's all one word, ALSMIZZLE, and get up to $100 deposit bonus. Just put right into your account on your first deposit to the site. You can use that for the pick'ems or the battle royales or anything else that they have over there. Great products. The best place to play best ball in the fantasy football industry. Biggest tournaments, everything. I'm going to go, obviously, unders, lowers are more sharp, but like I don't care about being sharp on these. I want to have fun. I'm going to go over. Why'd you click goof? I don't want, no, higher. I think this game's going to shoot out. I really do. Give me this for $50. I'm not going to insure this. I want the 10X. I want to win $500 for 50. Submit, confirm. I am on the road to the Tua Tagovailoa stack. Give me all of this game. This game is going to be delicious. Tua came back last week, was not as efficient as you would hope, threw a lot of interception-worthy balls, but still didn't look bad, especially on like the scripted plays early in the game. Scared the hell out of me every single time you're Tua. Please just slide, dude. Battle Fader, thank you for the $50 donated to No Kid Hungry. Appreciate that. We're getting closer to that next match. If we get to $30,000, I got to put another $10,000 in, getting us to about $40,000 a season. Like, maybe we'll get there by Sunday. I don't know. Go to smizzle.tv/charity if you wanted to donate to the charity. But like, Tua's got to slide, please. Please just slide. Just get that. Take the 3 yards and then just get down. Self-preservation. You've already had 2 massively ugly concussions this year.
Hey, listen.
Tim Brown, thank you for the $30 donated to No Kid Hungry. This is now going to be a thing on Twitch where they're just going to try and interrupt the video with really kind and nice donations to No Kid Hungry. So Tua is amazing, and we're going to try and double stack through him. It's going to cost you because Tyreek Hill is really expensive. He's $8,500, and Jalen Waddle, the second best play there, also $6,700. Trent Sherfield gives you some salary relief at $3K, but he's somewhat thin. Really only gotten like 2, 3, 4 targets each of the last few games, but he'll open something up, and if he does happen to catch a touchdown, that gives you a little bit of something there to pay off, to get you some value associated with that sack. It's not out of the realm of possibility that he catches a touchdown. It's just not highly likely. Mike Gesicki has seen 3 touchdowns so far this year and 14 targets in the last 2 games. Taking a look at their percentage of targets, just like we said, 32% go to Tyreek Hill, 49% go to Jalen Waddle, and then it's just like take your pick of kind of where it's going to end up. I'm not going to use most there in the stacks here. Chase Edmonds with 6 red zone targets already. That's a little bit weird. Gesicki, Sherfield, like I said, he is active when they get into the red zone. Waddle, River Craycraft. What's crazy is that they have not targeted Tyreek Hill but 1 time in the red zone. That's going to change. they're going to start utilizing their main weapon, but it seems like everybody's doubling him and they're just taking the path of least resistance. So look for that to alter itself as the time goes on. Andy Dalton was named the starter for the New Orleans Saints. Now look, I think that week 8 is going to be a week where I really do feel like you can break the rules. Okay, there's a couple of value quarterbacks who have rushing ability, and you can correlate your lineups. Obviously, I prefer to correlate through my quarterback because I'm looking for that 30-point day. But like, if you wanted to go with a super cheap quarterback like Daniel Jones, who does not really have options to double stack with very often, there's paths for him with the 100-yard rushing that he had. Kadarius Toney with $20. Congratulations on the trade to Kansas City, and thank you for the $20 donated. Hammy already feels better. And Brian McNevin, thank you for the $25. I'm muting the alerts now. They'll show up on the screen, but they're not going to make noise. YouTube does not like the alerts. However, YouTube, smizzle.tv/charity if you wanted to give as well. Andy Dalton and this New Orleans Saints team is another way that you can kind of break the rules because of how injured everybody else is. Here's the question that I know I was going to be asked if I said it this week. But Al, does Andy Dalton have a ceiling? I mean, we kind of saw it last week with 32.54 points. And could he sustain 2 pass catchers? Well, I think that he could. One of them might be Alvin Kamara, who has seen 18 targets each of the last 2 weeks and 6 or more targets each of the last 4, partially because of the injuries to Michael Thomas, who we are expecting to be out, did not practice on Wednesday again this week, and Jarvis Landry's ankle did not practice again this week. The player who is most likely going to be stacked with him is Chris Olave, still leading the league in air yards, even though he had a bye week and left another game early. Like, he is still 90 yards ahead of everybody else in terms of air yards. Not being utilized like a rookie in terms of his route participation, target tree, everything. Big time player, big splash ability, and because of the absence of everybody else, getting more usage in the red zone and end zone. This is probably the only ways that I wanted to go with this. As you can see, based on their target tree, it's Olave and then Kamara and then like meh. It's just like, you know, fine. Like, I'm not messing around with Marquez. I'm not messing around with Traquan, not messing around with Troutman. And as you guys know, my feelings about Taysom Hill, it's enough already. Please make it stop. Just give the ball to Olave and Kamara and let them work. NBA season has started, and if you have not already, go to smizzle.tv/ETR and go check out all the great products that they have at Established Run. If you're dipping your toes and playing a little NBA daily fantasy, you want to use the best projections and the best information that's out there. So go to Establish the Run, and if you don't use the link, you just go to their site. Use promo code SMIZLIFE at checkout for 10% off of their products if you're a new subscriber to the site. If you're in a sports gambling site and you like the sports bet, they do a great job on player props for NBA and NFL. The package, you get 10% off of this when you use my promo code. Go check out ETR today for NBA Daily Fantasy with the NBA season in full swing. Geno Smith is still on the list because he's still cheap at $5,800 and is a really good leverage stack this week, considering that everybody's going to be looking towards Ken Walker. Like, I don't have him in my top 12 running backs in PPR this week based on projection because I feel that he's just reliant too much on touchdowns and like 50-yard touchdown runs very specifically, while not being involved in the passing game at all. But if he's going to be a 20% running back again, and DK Metcalf, there's no way, right? There's no way that DK Metcalf plays on a torn patella tendon. Like, there's no way, right? Like, if he's got a messed up knee, they got to sit him, don't they? And if they sit him, that means that Tyler Lockett becomes a fantastic play. He's always been a fantastic play this year. However, they finally moved up his price tag to kind of match. We saw Marquise Goodwin, sprinter speed, get 5 targets, caught 4 of them for 2 touchdowns. He'll see more route participation and more snaps this week in the case that DK Metcalf misses this game. And the player that I think is going to catch a lot of usage is Noah Fant. With 15 targets the last 3 weeks, sitting at under 3K, good spot for him in the case that DK misses this game. Taking a look at their targets over here on NFL Savant, DK Metcalf could possibly vacate 28.2% of the target market share. Lockett already at 22 would probably bump up over 25. Noah Fant at 13, he would bump up a little bit. Disley would probably see about 10%, and Marquise would see probably around 15% of the targets in that spot. So easy spot for you to go after and get some cheap options that would allow you to pay up in other spots this week, because DraftKings is tighten the screws and it's a much tighter week than normal. Derek Carr, 5,900. Everybody and their mama wants to play Josh Jacobs because, you know, he's averaging like 106 fantasy points a week over the last 3 weeks. Like he's been absurd to the point of being ridiculous. His price has come up to 7,500, but he is still one of the better values on the board. So to pivot off of that and leverage all of the people that are going to be rostering Josh Jacobs, you know what's really funny? Every single player on the Raiders is questionable. Carr, questionable. Jacobs, questionable. Adams, questionable. Renfro, questionable. Hollins, questionable. Hell, DJ Turner's questionable. And Darren Waller's questionable. Obviously, we know that Adams is a fantastic player and a fantastic play week in, week out. You get a really high floor. DraftKings with full PPR and bonuses. This is the best we could have hoped for from a week 8 perspective, week 8 tournament perspective, right? Coming off of a week where he did not have a big game and Jacobs had a big game, is going to hold the percentage down in Davante Adams where it's very hard to pay up. I'm still expecting somewhere between 8 and 13 targets for Davante Adams this week going up against New Orleans, who may be without Marcus Lattimore on the outside, which makes his job a whole lot easier. If you wanted to go with Renfro, fine. In the case that Waller plays, I think he's a good leverage play at tight end because the standard roster construction this week is going to be to pay way down at tight end, like under 4K at tight end a lot of the time. So you can get different by paying up, and like 5K isn't paying up all that much. But if he's out, the island of Foster Moreau is really only 3,100 and a perfect stacking option, which leaves you with a lot of money coming back. The Raiders, like, it's 31% Davante, and then like it's kind of wonky here because this is season totals. So like Renfro, who missed a couple weeks, and Waller, who missed a couple weeks, like this is based on their season totals and not games that they started and finished. Essentially, Adams plays a ton. Hollins mans the other side on the outside. When healthy, Renfro plays a ton in the slot, and then Darren Waller lines up as the tight end and will get those targets. But like, it's going to be this off the top. That's off the rip. If I'm going to have Carr be my quarterback, I'm probably going to stick Davante Adams to him in 100% of my Carr lineups and then cycle through the other guys depending on who is healthy and who is actually playing this week. And the puke stack of the week is going to be Jared Goff. Finally, he gets all of his weapons back after 2 straight games wrapped around a bye week where he was thrown for 0 touchdowns and under 10 DraftKings points. Everybody wants to stack the Miami side of this game, and Detroit has been horrific defensively, but like Miami hasn't been great defensively either. They're like worst 5, they're bottom 5 in the league in terms of like red zone trips and red zone efficiency and touchdowns scored on red zone trips. And when you add back a couple of players into this offense, DeAndre Swift has been practicing all week long. You give him that sort of a weapon, now that offense looks a lot better. Amon-Ra St. Brown, the sun god, left last game with concussion symptoms, but was said on Monday that he did not have a concussion. He was limited because of concussion protocol. He's got to clear it. It takes till Friday to actually do that. But they said he does not have a concussion, so I'm expecting him to play this week against Miami, who's going to have trouble guarding him, and he should be a guy who gets you like 9 to 15 targets, especially in a game that they project to be playing from behind. Fantastic pay up to be different spot at tight end. And TJ Hawkinson, we've already seen the ceiling from him with 42.9 points in week 4 against Seattle. And then take your pick with the receivers based on whoever's left. Like if Josh Reynolds plays, if he doesn't, if Khalif Raymond plays, if Reynolds doesn't. But like essentially I'm going through them. I'm probably not going to use DeAndre Swift in that stack. Because I don't project him to get over 15% of the targets. This is how their targets have broken down so far in the season. And again, this is on season totals, all games. So like Amon-Ra St. Brown getting dinged here. He's usually going to be around 30+% of the target market share. Josh Reynolds sitting at a very nice 20%. Hawkinson at 17. Focus on these 3 if all 3 are healthy and playing. Let's head over to Fantasy Labs very quickly. Take a look at what we're doing here. I'm going to allow New Orleans to stack with the running back. As I said here, pair your quarterback exactly 2 wide receiver tight end from the same team, excluding New Orleans. So every quarterback that I use is going to be that, except for New Orleans on this. I'm going to pair the quarterback with exactly 2 running back, wide receiver tight end, including New Orleans. So it'll allow the lineup ability to use Kamara in that stack. Pair the wide receiver with 1 running back, wide receiver, or tight end from the opponent. That's how I get my secondary stacks, is through the wide receivers. I'm going to add New Orleans to this or it won't work. Boom. Limit your to at most 1 running back, wide receiver, tight end from the same team unless the quarterback is on that team. And then we're going to apply these settings, build 150 lineups, and generate. It's not going to be as simple as just clicking it. If you wanted to use the great tools that they have over at Fantasy Labs, go to smizzle.tv/labs with an uppercase L. And if you get the 8-month package, I believe is what they're selling now, is the all sport package where you get NFL, college football, NBA, baseball when it comes back, golf, NHL, everything that they have projections and a lineup builder for. So best of luck to you this weekend. Look out for another video right there.
He's a legend.